and welcome to Precious Moments. My name is Busisiwe Nomaswazi Gunene. Thank you to all the people that have subscribed to our channel, have liked, have shared. Please continue to do so. Joining me today on Precious Moments is one of the hardest working women. She's graced our television screen since the early 2000s, Liopelo Maphathe. Liopelo, welcome to Precious Moments.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for that sweet introduction.
I'm so excited to have you on the show.
Likewise. I'm super excited. This is my first podcast to partake in, so I'm very excited. Like one to in the sweets.
Yeah,
literally.
Awesome. So we're going to have a chat, precious moments about your life, your career, you know, maybe as a starting point. Tell us about who Liopelo is, where she grew up, your earliest childhood memories.
Okay, so Liopelo is a girl from Lesotho that grew up in a very interesting situation where both my parents were not married, and I was adopted by my grandparents from my paternal side. And so I didn't know what was going on. I didn't even know who I was. And post that in primary school, I realized that, shucks, these people are not my parents. Because you know kids, they're honest, bordering on mean. So when I the bodyguards, you think you're rich, family how rich, those are not your parents. So my grandfather at that time was a minister, so he had all of that entourage. And it was the most painful thing ever. I don't know why. It felt so painful. I wished somebody else had broken the news to me than hearing it from you know. You can imagine the betrayal that one goes through with something like that. So I went home, had to have a sit down with these two elderly people that I hold in high regard. And I saw my grandfather weep like a child that day when I asked him. I was like, actually, he wasn't even there that day. He had gone to play golf. It was a Sunday. I went to my grandmama and said, Mommy, so Mommy, Friday, it takes a while for you to find comfort in conversing or even getting to that point, because it's actually quite embarrassing as well. So the first thing, Mommy was very uncomfortable. He's like, they sat down. And usually when there would be sittings like that, they would be talking to me. But for a change, I was getting that opportunity at that age. I think I was probably 10, 12, to ask them such a question. And deep down inside of me, I wanted them to say it's not true. Because I didn't know what that would then mean. Then I get told my mom left me at the doorstep at the house. Then I'm like, who's my mom? I want to know more now. Then my grandmom is like, every now and again, and daddy has an altercation, Lena, sometimes. I see that lady. Now I'll tell you something so special. They have a lot of help around them. So my nanny. And they're gonna go right? But every time she would play such soulful music that I fell in love with, that I'd be crying so deeply. And the music got lovers what. But it was almost like I was yearning for something that I didn't know. Do you get it?
I do.
So this lady would always come and visit her, and there'd be that attachment, but I didn't know who she was. She didn't look like anything I had been a part of in my life. So you can imagine how that also feels a bit uncomfortable, to say the least, because you're like, why would she leave me if she is my mom? Then my grandmom came in and said, in that conversation, said, the reason why she brought you here is because that was how, therefore she brought you to us, and we're the grandparents. Who's in that work? Then my grandfather comes and jumps in. It's my son. Oh, wow, okay. At least he's more familiar with these people. About these people, because he's a businessman, he's whatever. And now I'm worried about this particular lady because she looks young. And my mom's like, so she had to let you be with us. So I grew up in that environment. And I think for the longest of time, I was grateful that we had that opportunity to talk and I hear what they had to say about it. But it was the most uncomfortable conversation to have because of our age gap and because of bophelo ba bona le baka ke le ngwana. I knew where to end it. But I've always just been a curious child since then, even more. Because I realized that not everything is what it looks like.
Yeah, nothing is ever what it seems.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah. So yeah, I think have I answered the question, because I think I got deeper into it.
Yeah, and emotional too. It's very emotional. I mean, for a 10-year-old to be asking such a question, and also because of the toxic environment of kids can be very cruel. Because if they didn't say that or make those comments, you would have grown up knowing that your grandparents were your parents, and probably maybe at the age of 16, 18, then you would have had that conversation, or maybe they would have initiated it to say, look, we are your grandparents, and this is what happened.
Yeah, and you know when they say you can't unsee what you've seen?
Yes, true.
So true. It's so true. So obviously growing up in that kind of environment was just very confusing, very empowering, very, very grown up for a child. And I think for me, that just made me not want to have that in my life. So much so that I'm honest, I'm brutal about everything.
Yes.
And I take it as, and I allow you to see it as, and you can decide whether you want to be part of my life or you're not a part of my life. I'm talking about relationships now, post all of that experience. Yeah.
Sure. Sure. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm still having a chat with Liopelo Maphathe. Yeah, ne? Okay. Phew, that. Yeah. So, take us further. Then you becoming a teenager, leaving all that in the past. I mean, that conversation, leaving it in the past, and now having to grow up knowing the truth post 10 years old.
And I'm starting there because I realize now in my elder age, I am more comfortable with talking about it.
Yeah.
And I think it's actually a good thing because my grandparents are deceased. Therefore, I never wanted to make them feel like they are betrayers, because it is a betrayal, right? And with life having liberated me, I understand the dynamics and the differences that are there. It's abophelo. And there's no right or wrong, you know. And I'll get to a point about that when we have this conversation. And then I grew up. So I think after that, in my mind, in order for me to sustain myself and move on, because now I can't talk about it anymore, right?
Yes.
I blocked a lot of things. So my childhood memories are what people tell me about me now, that I come across them, maybe they're on social media, people that I went to school with, and then they're like, you know, you used to sit down in front of a television and would come to your house, because obviously your house was bigger, and then you'd watch Days of Our Lives or Santa Barbara, and you'd be pointing, say, I'm going to be there. But you'd be the closest to the TV apart from everybody else. And everybody else would be sitting right behind.
You go ahead, after all.
Yes. And they cannot do more like I don't remember that part. And I'm like, oh my word, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Is that what it is? So the dream and the thrive and the wish for being in there, I don't know at that early age what it really meant. And I think sometimes when people say, true. It is what it is. It is what it is. And then from there, got to high school, I started having a much more open relationship with this old man and just telling him what I wanted. And I think because he was a very strict guy, either be lawyer or be the top 3 careers,
which is
right.
Yeah.
So nakibuaka in a TV, what it is that I want to do there.
Santa Barbara type of thing.
Yes, inside there, and I want you to see me, watch me. Then he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Now we need to negotiate. How can skolo? So we say degree pilia, yabo doctor. Then kamuramo. He says that. So I understand how deep this is and how sentimental it is.
It would have been an achievement for him.
Yes, exactly. And Hanka is saying you realize, right? So I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? Then I'm like, perhaps this is the time to have that conversation about my parents.
Yeah.
Because perhaps these are the people that can actually understand. I don't even know how it happened. I started being closer to my father. And my father at the time was disabled. Very successful, very bright mind. To date, I still don't understand. Ali disabled for 39 years. I mean, when we buried him 2 years ago, when I read his obituary, I was like, this guy, 39 years disabled on a wheelchair, being pulled up, being put to bed, waking up religiously each and every morning without fail, getting ready. People, obviously he has help, but you really normally
exactly, like snooze.
Sometimes you want to snooze, sometimes you want to switch off your phone, sometimes you don't want to be available, especially when you're working for yourself.
Exactly.
Where did he get that drive from? What a man.
Sure. And I get why you love him so much. I mean, your statuses, it's like
it's about him.
Everything is about him.
Instead of being angry at him actually for not being there, because opa like excuse me if we wasn't there.
Yes.
So instead of having that resentment, I found myself falling in love deeper with him, and I realized, I'm realizing that now, that we come via other vessels.
Yes.
But those vessels are a meaning of our lives. And we need to pursue a purpose of our lives.
Yes.
Now, because I come from there, I will never allow myself to fail. Yes. Because of that. Because I've faced so many things in my life that I would instead shy away.
Yeah.
But because of that guy, I'm like, no. That is not
if
even
he could do it and disabled and I'm fully abled, it's not make sure
at all
for me to fail.
No. And what am I saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we know villagers. But having said that, I then got a relationship with this guy and I realized, okay, he's an entrepreneur. Then he started telling me about how he lived his life, who he is. And we had an opportunity to really just lay out the foundation.
Yeah.
The funny thing about it is that being a man, usually, you're the one who will speak ill of a situation.
Yes.
He never did.
Sure.
The only person that has spoken ill of the situation, and hear me clearly, Busi, my mother, the person that gave birth to me, who I needed to understand, why did you do that? But after having said that, I would like to say I understand because it wasn't easy.
Yes.
She's just embodied a spirit that is so negative that she resents this vessel, so much so that she resents anything that comes with the vessel. So she's anything but toxic. And I don't even think it's her understanding. And I pray for her every day. But I realize that in order for me to succeed and win and prosper, I need positive energy around me.
Yes.
I'm sure you understand.
And you need to forgive her.
I need to forgive her.
Yeah.
But I can't take on what's not mine.
Yes.
Because it just becomes too heavy on me. And I've tried numerous times, done different things. Wanted to be loved, wanted to be attended to, wanted to give her my time. But it was always coming back to bite me.
Sure. Tell me about Ntate Zeiksmda, because he's now like your pillar of strength in the absence of your dad.
Oh, I love him. I love him so much. May God bless him. Like, he's the most beautiful person I've ever had. And I always say he's my gift from God, and this gift came in the form of a father.
Yeah.
So my dad and Ntate Zeiksmda were kids at some point, and they grew up together.
Yeah.
Ntate Zeiksmda bane bale exile Lesotho kana kwa dipolitiki in South Africa, and our family had housed them. So my grandmother raised Ntate Zeiks with the family, under one roof.
Yeah.
And as I've explained, they were well off, and therefore they could accommodate people. So Ntate Zeksimda happens to be one of the kids that were raised in that environment, and he actually does talk about it on his book, his autobiography by Zeksimda. It's called Memoirs of Zeksimda. He talks about his upbringing and so forth. He's been somebody who I've always known existed, and I've always loved his book because my dad would read, and whatever my dad liked, I liked.
Yeah.
But because he was so remote from me at the time, growing up, I was just too excited about this bubble that I'm in.
Yeah.
I never heard that old man, my father, saying to me, hold on to that guy.
Yes.
If you need advice and you can't talk to me, speak to him. But it took my dad's last days where I started saying, I actually want to reach out to him. What do you think I should do?
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know. I've given you all the details. You made him something. He's expecting your call. I feel like that's the only thing that when my dad passed and I thought or played back his last moments, I realized he didn't just leave me. He didn't leave me to be alone.
Yes.
He knew exactly how important and pivotal that role of a person is, and he knew that leaving me in his hands, I'd be well taken care of. And I must say, I grew up faster. I feel better about my voice. I speak my truth without fear or favor or prejudice. And I know that I've got a support structure, I've got a backbone that's very strong, and that's the light of my life.
Sure.
That's the light of my life. Well, after my daughter.
Tell me about your daughter. I see the glow when you speak about her.
My daughter's name, Mbalientle. And I know people would say, Umusutu, Mbalientle ki Sizulu. And I'd be like, because it's just a beautiful name.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful flower. Sorry. So I had, as you can imagine, having grown up in that kind of environment, the last thing for me was to have a child. I was like, look, I don't understand an extension of myself. I don't even want to ever imagine it. I've got a plus and a negative as an experience of my own upbringing. Am I capable? Do I have capacity? No, I don't have the energy. I'm very selfish. No, I want this. I want that. Then boom, I found myself in a situation where I actually met someone and I thought, I want to have a child.
Yes.
He spoke the right words.
Yes.
Did the right things.
Touched the right
Touched
buttons.
the right buttons. And zing, it went. It was just a plus and a plus and a plus.
Yeah.
And the day she was born, you know, I remember waking up for the first time when I opened my eyes. I had, a bundle of joy. That's all I can ever say about the description of what I felt. There was something filling me inside. I was just like, what's that thing? Oh my God, it's my thing.
Yeah.
But there was just something that overwhelmed me with joy that I was like, I can take it, I can do anything with it, and I'll be able to prosper, I'll be able to grow, I'll be able to, but it felt like I had a partner.
Yeah.
A life partner. That's what it feels like, a life partner. Yeah.
How old is she?
She's 14, she's turning 15. So she was born 2 days. The plan was to want her to be born on the 16th of June.
Yeah.
Because it's my father's birthday.
So but God had other plans.
Even when I had the contractions, she probably could have been born earlier if there is such. I still ignored them. I was like, no, can I push it back? This thing is not coming out. I'm not ready. I promise you,
it's not the 16th.
By the time I got to the hospital, the doctor was like, this child is distressing. Come, let's go. What have you been waiting for? And I was like, no, but it's not the 16th yet. It's not the 16th. Insane, right?
Yeah.
So I guess, that's a memory that's attached to her being born on that month, and what it always will mean for me, because I would like to look at positives more in life than negatives, you know. Even though my dad is gone, I was even saying to someone today that I'd like to post something completely different on my dad's birthday and not say he's gone.
Yeah.
And it's 3 years later since he passed, and I think I've come to a point where I look at his picture and I don't cry. And
because healing takes time. and it comes from within.
I never thought I'd heal. I didn't even know where I was. I've heard people that said to me, "Are you sure you didn't end up in a mental hospital?" Was I that bad? Sure. But another thing about it is like, why can't we have conversations about it? Why can't we talk about it so that we cushion each other?
Yes.
Before we sit there. Because there's a cushion here now. So because one thing I say loudly is I wish I could have a proper take of his funeral, because I was just
hysterical, I can imagine.
I mean, I'm a broadcaster, I'm supposed to know how to talk or write. It had not sunk in. I was mad. I was a madhouse. Went through different characters for the longest of time, and I was just like, no man, it's gonna feel different. Tried everything. Felt lost. Felt so lost. And I mean, those feelings, we need to not dwell on them, yes, because they're painful, but we need to share them.
We do.
So we prepare.
Yeah, because also remember, girls, we're more close to our dads than our mothers. And that is why we are called daddy's girls. Yeah.
Daddy's girls.
Yeah.
I remember the last time I saw him, I was shooting The Queen, and I was playing a role of a character that was on a wheelchair. And my dad was on a wheelchair. So one day I sent him, 2 weeks before he died, I sent him a video of me on set on a wheelchair. The first thing he said, "What's going on here?" But I can make sense about it. So now as I'm thinking of it, I'm analyzing it for what it is. So he then says, "What's like, no, Dad, it's because you're my superhero. I'm so glad that I've gotten or been given an opportunity to prove something about you that I know."
Yeah.
Because I didn't have to read about the character. I didn't have to go inquire. I had a full experience.
Had a full experience, true.
I was even teaching the people on set on how a person that's disabled, how they would move, how would their mannerisms and so forth. But I think it was God preparing me.
Yeah. Oh, because He does that.
I was just wondering, if I didn't have a little bit of these things that I feel I probably were cushioning me, where would I be?
Because you'd be in the dark. You wouldn't know.
And there was an element of, what does life mean?
Sure.
Do you know, I said to myself the other day, and I was just driving on a random Saturday, and I thought to myself, you know, there's a song that says, "Go see." I'm an artist, so I love everything across the board as far as the industry is concerned. Not even go see,
Oh,
yes, yeah.
Tebe, yes.
It's a very nice song, right?
Go sing, ngisize, ngangithathi ngisesemncane, hakumnandi ukuphila, hey kumnandi ukujive.
I wanna rock.
Yes.
That song. So I'm like, how do I feel about that song and this life? I'm like, no, man. I want to have a purposeful life. I am ready to go, God. But only if you say I should stay. Yes. Let me live a purposeful life. Let me live a life that makes a difference. Not to the world, just to my current society. Because I see what's happening around me. I know how I feel.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's the only reason and the purpose I want to live for.
True.
And I'm challenging God because I'm like,
and that's the only way how one can live their purpose is find people in your space.
Right.
Because people tend to want to be messiahs. Yeah. And there was only one Messiah.
There was only one Messiah.
And you get hurt in the process of trying to be a Messiah, whereas you need to look into the mirror and say, Busi, who are you?
Right.
Who's around you?
Right.
And we try and help the whole world, and that's not our purpose. And God never said save the world. You know, even Michael Jackson said heal the world, not save the world.
Yes, no, that's for sure. That's for sure. That's for sure.
I'm enjoying this.
Oh wow!
So tell me about transition from Lesotho to Joburg. How did that come about?
Yeah, so. I'm visiting school holidays. I'll visit my dad, see how he runs his business. Try visit my mom, see how she lives. So I must be honest, Gatola, a 360 of a life experience there. But my head and my mind was still like, I want to go away. I want to live in Hollywood. This is where all of these things are happening.
Yeah.
How do I get there? Applied to Skolo, go UOFs. Then I did drama and theatre arts there. Now, we're being taught in Afrikaans.
What year was this?
Yes. Sorry.
Sure.
I'm the one who chose this degree. So it's going to be my fault if I go complain to those elders that this is what's happening in school.
Yeah.
They won't come with their suits and say, we're going to fight this battle for you. They're going to say, it's because you chose this career. Sure. You chose this faculty.
You could have been a lawyer. You could have been taught in English.
Yeah. Sure. I'm like, I need to make this happen for myself. How am I going to do it?
Sure.
So while studying, I start connecting with Joburg people.
Yeah.
What's the next best Joburg? That's where it's happening. Auditions are happening there.
Yeah.
Okay, I go to Lesedi FM in the Free State. Okay. I don't get an opportunity to actually expand in the theatre there because
yeah.
My marks are not speaking. They're not doing the talking for me.
So the math is not meant.
No, not calculative at all. So I'm like, before I even embarrass myself beyond what I'm doing, let me find an exit plan to get me to the next plan.
Yeah.
Because once I'm in that plan, nobody's going to come confuse me.
Yeah.
Kabili, standing ovation. Kiss my hand, and I started having friends here, started visiting here. Then I go home in December. Where are your results? I don't know, get changed your course. Yes, business admin. But God being God, God being God, I come in the whole of December. I'm watching this show backstage, and I'm like, I'm not thinking anything, but I'm glued onto it. Now I know what this backstage is. Yes. Now I'm seeing myself in this backstage, but I don't know that I'm seeing myself in it, but I'm a part of it.
Yeah.
No man, I don't get me the last day before you go to school.
Yes, yes.
So you know, it's a very minimal time. You can explain and to say, I don't know, can say business kita do me like if class school. Okay. But kita Gauteng.
Go do my backstage.
Go do my backstage mo hlogong.
Yeah.
Ke batla di auditions. Ke botse ha man. What finale agents? Ke kene agenting, ke thola agency. Ke mo bolelle mosadi yo. Ke mo bolelle. I want to start to bolelle son. This is who I am. This is how old I am. This is the kind of background I come from, and I can't afford to fail. Yeah. So I need to get a gig. Yeah. Can you send me to the best auditions, and I'll make sure that I deliver.
Like in
a hurry. Yeah. Fast in a hurry. My conversations are very minimal. The pocket money, it's little, but I have to make it work.
Yeah.
Then I hear Gaino. I was with Gaino at the time. Lisa phones me. Hi. Who then became a very good friend, sister of mine. When I audition here backstage, she's in Cape Town. Gaino would like to know if you're willing to move. Can I know? Of course. How you told
success?
Yes.
Yeah.
Excuse me, to be away from those books in different languages. The questions. And she's like, okay, cool. We'll keep you posted. Bye bye. I think a week later they call me. They're like, we've got a script ready for you. Can you come in for a reading? I'm like, sure. Script gets sent. The whole night. Actually, the first audition, I think I was well prepared. Yeah. But I want to mention something. The whole night of the second audition, the callback, I didn't want to sleep.
Yeah.
You're gonna
miss it.
So guess what? A friend of mine, she wasn't working at the time. She's an actress, so she wasn't working the next day. So we wanna go out. You go to a poetry session. You go to the market theater, something. Yeah. So I join her. Then what happens? She's busy drinking. I'm tempted, but I'm like, yo, but I'm waiting for this bigger. Yes. Guess what I do? I make her run my lines with me.
Yes,
until
good girl.
5 o'clock in the morning, when we went to Greenside where the auditions were going to be held. We sat there at 5 o'clock. We napped in the car. Gonna go cancel makeup, cancel everything. Yeah. And I think I'm praying, but I'm not aware of what I'm doing.
Yes.
I went into the audition. Everybody was so nice and they were kind. I was like, only if these people know Robert. But I can't know you feel bad even though you were not drinking.
Exactly.
Because you're like, I'm tired. But why are you tired? But how can you be tired when you're coming to an audition?
And you knew about this.
But you're preparing yourself. Yes. And that's how you feel
was drinking,
to support.
So it was a 50-50
right?
thing. Yeah.
And that support was just amazing because it felt like it's mine. As I walked out of the car, she was like, go get it. When I got back into the car, I was like, it's ours.
Yes.
They hadn't even said anything, but you can see people's faces, especially during those times that we knew. Yeah. When you knew it was yours, you knew it was yours.
They look at each other in a certain way.
Yes, they communicate, right?
And they communicate.
Yes, even the way they say they'll see you later, they're like, they'll see you later.
Yeah. Are you available?
Yes, are you going to be available? Yeah, what's your time like? So you said you're willing to move to Cape Town? Is it a good deal? You don't have family or kids here? No, my family's in Lesotho. Oh, no, it's going to work out.
Yeah.
That's how it happened.
Oh, wow.
That's how it happened. And literally, I don't remember if it was months or weeks, I moved back to Joburg.
Sure.
But I was just like, God, you had to remove me from that space to put me there in order to bring me there.
Back, yeah.
There must have been something you were preparing here, cushioning nicely for me. The foundation was being set. I always think it's a blessing.
Of course it was.
I always think it's a blessing.
Of course it was.
Yeah.
And you know how God he'll always take the long drive.
Right.
Or the long route.
Right.
To bring you right back to where you started or where you're supposed to be.
Right.
But he doesn't want to make it easy.
Yes. And sometimes you would have seen that place, but you didn't know that it's the place you're going to end up at, right?
Exactly. And then you're like, deja vu?
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, was I dreaming?
Right? And everything falls into place so nicely.
Yes,
I know, it's beautiful. Absolutely.
Yeah. So at some point you disappeared from our screens for a while. Yeah. What were you busy doing?
It's a good question. I think I was busy raising this child. Yeah. Remember, I was not somebody who was ready to be a nurturer. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think because it doesn't sound...
It's not going to change.
Right.
Yeah.
So when this little bundle of joy was on this earth, all I wanted to do was to focus on it. And because the plan, as far as my dad was concerned, I'll
make it work somehow.
He's like, Mom, I don't like Joburg for that. My child, can she just come home? Yeah. No, we're not about it. No, remix masala enough. I just want that child to be with me. And I really, really focused mostly on that, and I was blessed enough to have a partner then that understood that mandate, and he pushed the relationship to be comfortable enough for me to actually be raising this child. And it's not pap and place, guys. It's not pap and place, and some people are fortunate enough to have a support structure that's close. Yes. But when you don't have that support structure, you can't rely on the society.
No.
And think take a driver, kapa Uber, or whatever the case is, expect and I mean, I'll make a simple example. For me, I had a bit of an issue foreign movies. I'm not xenophobic, but I was just like, why not the almost? Yeah. Do you get me? Yes, like a 5-year-old. How the first thing I can tell them when I go TVing. It's interesting and it's exciting and it's fun, but it needs to be well kept. And it needs to be it needs to be monitored. Exposing one and there's also a lot of sexual activities that happen there. There's a lot of bad, negative talks that happen there and all of that. So that's why they watch cartoons and stuff like that. Do you understand? Yeah. So I needed to just make sure, because I had those experiences where I'd relied on other people to support that for me, and it didn't work. And I think I had also felt a little bit of resentment from the space that I was in. Yeah. I get a resentment from the space I was in, when you know what you've done. Yeah. And you don't have to explain it to the world, because you were also just learning. You're just a girl from a village coming to the city life, experiencing things, not knowing who's who in the zoo, not knowing what other people's intentions of you are or wants in your life are, and you protected. Yeah. So you're coming as a protected little bubble, man. Now you rub with the wrong. To a point
where nobody's written on their forehead.
No, and then the worst thing is that as you're still busy navigating through that, saying no, but this is not right. Yes, but this is how I was taught. then boom, the lights are on you. What do you do? Because now you're exposed, you're caught with your pants down.
Yeah.
Then there needs to be an element of remorse from you. There needs to be a sense of, you don't have to say it's not what you think it is.
Yeah.
Like a man being caught with a woman.
Because it is what it is.
Yeah. But for me, I needed to recluse a bit, understand it for what it probably is, but also realize that I'm a victim to it too. But I'm not going to try play victim because society does see it in that manner. Therefore, I need to just navigate life and see myself past that. Yeah.
Sure.
That's what happened.
So, what were your biggest highs and lows in your career thus far?
Yeah, the biggest highs and lows. The biggest highs and lows in my career, I think, was being able to break those doors that everybody else would have thought are not breakable.
Especially from somebody who comes from a village.
Especially from someone who comes from a village. And also someone who's had training but not the real socialization of the space you're going to be in. Because there's no preparation.
No, none whatsoever.
And it can be a lot. Therefore, being part of the most popular, socially acclaimed telenovela, Backstage was a proper reflection, not even a replica, of Fame. And Fame was the biggest
Backstage,
show.
Rhythm City,
those were like amazing shows, and they were based on true stories that we lived as teenagers and as young adults. And I think that's what made it more fundamentally fun and comfortable for one to be partaking in. And you grew as you were in the show, you grew as you went along. Then I moved from Backstage. I got a role on Mubango, which was also just very exciting.
Yeah.
I think that's where we met.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, what was your character name?
Agnes.
Do you remember it? Yes, you were Agnes. Eggy.
Yeah, that's what I was
feisty. Egg.
Extremely
feisty.
Extremely feisty.
You're great.
Yeah, going out with a Kwaito star.
Going out with a Kwaito star. Seeing everything for what it is. How was that?
Yeah. I think that was also my biggest acting role. Right. I mean, the first biggest. Because, you know, Nomsa, may her soul rest in peace, she basically called me and she was like, we've got auditions.
Sis Nomsa,
so,
the makeup artist.
Yes.
So may her soul rest in peace.
And she was like, come through. And then I went there, auditioned for Dumi, which was Liopelo Maphathe's role.
Yeah.
And then they're like, no, we want you as the spoiled brat, Agnes. So that's how I then got the Agnes role.
Were you sisters with the Liopelo Maphathe character?
I was cousins.
Because
Liopelo Maphathe's mom was You Must Never,
Doris.
And then now was Maralo's daughter.
daughter.
So they were sisters, so we were cousins.
There was rivalry amongst them as well, hey?
Yes.
The two characters.
Yeah, because this one is got the big house.
Yes.
And she's got a shop.
Yes.
And the other one is just blabbermouth.
It must have been fun, right?
It was.
Yeah,
it was.
It must have been a lovely experience. I also find it to be one of the best spaces for one to have ever been in, especially because it was a vendor speaking show.
Yeah.
There's a lot that one learned and experienced there about the culture.
Yes,
right?
and the humility as well from the vendor people.
Yeah, and there's so many cast. It's one of the shows that has the most cast members.
True.
But there's like a union and there's like a unity.
Yeah, and there's no divas.
No, and those people are great in their own rights, huh? They're very good in their own rights. Yeah, that's amazing. That's actually amazing. Yeah.
Liopelo, how do you?
Oh, I got a chance to interview you there. Yes.
Precious moments.
Precious moments.
Yeah.
Precious moments.
How do you handle bad publicity, especially when it comes to your personal life?
Look, I've had a fair share of bad publicity in my life, so much so that I don't have to be publicly known.
Yeah.
My personal life should remain personal, so I keep it so neat and tidy, so well, seamlessly done, because I realize with Americans we never knew their lives. Look at, I'm still that girl that believes that me and a Hollywood star are together. We're in the same crowd. So I do as they do. And I know it could be a bad and a good thing, but if you use it for the good, you're bound to do great things. So their personal lives are not known. And I don't think it's important for us as a society to be digging such things, because that has nothing to do with your passion, with your art, with your craft. Why don't we just perhaps help give therapy to us people, to each other? Because for us, acting is therapy, right?
It is.
Is it not?
It is.
It is. In all levels.
It is.
You walk out of there feeling amazed. By making yourself a fool, by embarrassed,
somebody,
by being, you know what I mean? It comes with a lot of things. I think also with the highlights, I then joined a show called Motherhood. I'd never done comedy before. I don't even think I'm funny.
I remember you and Motherhood. You are this rich business owner woman, who's a housewife, who just
she was just all over
throwing
slay queen kind of what today is called slay queen is that
exactly
girl.
Yes.
And I was just like, where am I gonna get that from? Guess I went to research on, you remember that comedy show 227?
Yes. I
saw myself as that woman and I was like, I'm gonna do everything she does.
She's done.
Her mannerisms, the way she twirls her hair, the way she speaks.
And that's exactly
Haribon. And I felt so much fun. And acting on the same stage with Ntate Patrick Shah, may his soul rest in peace, was the most fundamental highlight of my life, because I was like, I'm so young. He's such a legend. How did I get myself here? And how am I doing? But I was just like going on. And that's when they say, when you're a free spirit, you give that. You liberate the character. And no matter how the world then takes you, you've given your all to it. And going back to that, it's great for people to know you as that.
True.
Right? True. Because your personal life is your personal life.
It's got nothing to do.
People have things. All of us have, and nobody's perfect.
I mean, you watch Santa Barbara. Did you even think, I want to know what's happening in their lives? No. Brooke Logan.
I'm happy with
what's
them
happening in Brooke Logan's life?
And the only thing I'd wonder is she really like this in real life?
Because
she was the best slut on the show, right? Slept with the dad, the father, son, everybody. Like, she did it so amazingly and seamlessly.
Sure. Liopelo, tell us, what would you say are some of the challenges women are facing in this industry?
Sure. It's a lot. You know, the weird thing about us as human beings is that we talk about things when we experience them. But post that, we don't necessarily want to face them or to partake in that. I think there's that nonchalantness, associated with this bad stigma because which is working against us, because then we are allowing for the activity to carry on. You know, the perpetration keeps on going on and on and on, and it doesn't stop. And I worry so much, that's why I'm like, I would like to teach a girl child about the do's and don'ts and to know what's there. Then they can make their minds up about what they feel works and what does not work. So the challenges that I've been faced with in the past, where I have had a relationship in the industry and it wasn't such a kosher relationship, and it's something I would not want to talk about it, but I got myself faced with it, so much so that it even got itself out and fabricated even more. And I've never had a chance to actually explain or give my narrative. And it's not important to try justify anything, but how na mutho perfect lefatsheng. And about to raise a diphoso, re forsa, I think a person who doesn't go out there and shun someone is the quieter person. But the person that will use that as a measuring stick as to what work should be given to a person and what work should not be given to a person, it's a very problematic state of mind for one to think they can operate on that. Therefore, I feel I had to also recluse a bit and just find myself. And I was like, baby ling hona lemo, but a family, but it's somewhere, and banale bana. Then emwa bona, I'm sure you would know it. But emwa bona watsa maya oya to the master. Ufilare ke ngwana ka o emwa bare Hey,
Yes, Solomon.
Solomon, yeah.
Yes.
And then the Solomon Master Abarubona Ngwana cut into half.
Yeah.
Please explain that
yes,
to me.
So the one lady, so it's two ladies, they both give birth.
Right.
And the one lady Ngwana hayo tlhokofala during the night.
Right.
Then she swaps the babies.
Right.
And the next day, Wangwano Pilang wakes up and she's like, no, this is not my child, because Ngwanaka Kimusile Apila. And then they then are taken to Solomon, because Solomon he asked God for wisdom to be able to tell wrong from right. So they both go to Solomon. Right. And then Solomon, they're arguing, no, King Wanaka, no, King Wanaka, no, Waka. So Solomon's like, okay, give me a sword. Right. I'm going to cut the baby into two pieces. Right. The real mom of the child was like, don't. Because he will right. And was kelem, but yeah, rather. You know? Yes. So that's how then God's wisdom through Solomon to say, onaling that was like, no, I'd rather appealing wanaka amunke than the child to be cut into.
And that's exactly what it is. How in a space where you work with people and you come across something like that, all we can possibly do is, let me go breathe where I'll be able to comfortably breathe. What's been done unto me can be right or wrong, but it's for God to judge. Yeah. I've come forth with my truth, but I will allow God to put me where I belong. And I think for the longest of time, I was shunning myself about it, because it's not something that I thought anybody should be talking comfortably about, because people didn't know. But I learned that within the industry, when people are competing, people can use things against you. True. And it's very pivotal and know who you are. Yes. Know what you're doing. Know who your people are. And surround yourself with like-minded people. In the bad space that I was in that bad relationship, one thing I know I came out with is that person once said to me, be with somebody who's got something to lose. So be with somebody that's got a lot more to lose than you. If you failed, be with somebody that has the same to lose with you. When I look at those people that I was surrounded by that I thought were my so-called friends, none of them had anything. They'd lost everything, so they didn't have anything to lose.
Yeah. So and it's more like the analogy of people when you are on a step ladder, people at the bottom are always trying to pull you down to their level. Yeah. People at the top are kicking you back so that you don't get to the top. Yeah.
True. That's the best. Actually, that's such a true analogy of it. Yeah. Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah. So you need to be able to hold on tight to that ladder and decide ultimately where you're going to go. Yeah. Are you going to let the ones pulling you down win, or are you going to push those ones at the top that are pressing you down, push them over, let them fall over?
But we're not socialized in knowing that you can do that.
Yeah.
Yes. And what do those things exactly mean?
In this day and age, if you ask me, they mean nothing.
Nothing.
Because people don't live by those principles anymore. Yeah. So you've got to look out for yourself.
Yeah. It's a dog eat dog. Yeah. It's a dog eat dog world.
Yeah. And also the bigger your circle, the more dangerous it is.
So true.
The bigger your circle, the more dangerous it is.
The bigger the challenges
and also. The bigger the challenges,
And why do you need a big circle?
But you wouldn't know then what you know now as a person. I mean, in 2024, whether you're an actress, whether you're a doctor, whether you're in anything, in 2024, I think COVID made us take a step back.
It did a number.
And realize what life is all about.
Because we had lost that.
Because we had lost that.
Oh, we had lost a lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very humbling experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there's myths about what the acting industry is about, the glitz, the glamour. People don't know. People will see you on Mufurifiri Linyalong and think, oh, that's wonderful, that's awesome. And that is why I think social media is one of the tools that is just misinforming people, because you'll get in a big way, because you're going to get a paid partnership with maybe a bank, and you have to live in a certain way or act in a certain way, and people will then be on some, I want to be like Liopelo, you know, acting is the glitz and glamour. Tell us about that. Or rather, if you can educate our viewers that acting is not glitz and glamour. There's a
acting is work. Acting is work, but it's not a business. You need to then channel it in a way that it becomes a business for you. Acting is work that is cemented by passion.
Yeah.
Now you go there, you go work. You go there, you go work. But how you get remunerated is, it varies, firstly. And today, we all know we don't have a legislation that protects our work, that protects us.
Yeah.
We're right at the bottom of the food chain. So the question is, are you willing to pave that? Or would you rather walk away and go make money? My daughter always says to me, "Nna mami, ke rata tjhelete."
Yeah.
And I appreciate that about her.
Yeah, no, for
because
sure.
ha senye nako. Ha ke nantse ha nantse re o re nna ke rata tjhelete. And because of that perseverance and that hunger and confidence of what she wants, she's going to get it.
Yes.
But Rona, in the space that we're in, I don't know why social media has allowed people to portray things that don't exist. I understand there's something called persevering, aspirational.
Yeah.
All of those things are positive. But is there peace in them?
No.
And that's me just thinking about it. I don't know what the next person would say. And how much of it are you going to get in order for you to be happy? What is the reason why you are living? And if you had to, your life had to be cut short today, what difference would you feel you've made?
Yeah.
Because there must be a reason why we are all here, and we are all gifted in our own rights. And we are all special in I saw something this morning on a platform. It was like, I asked God to take away my habits.
Yeah.
And God said, give it up.
Yeah.
I asked God.
Stop it.
I asked God for happiness. He put me through tribulations in order for me to appreciate the small things.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and that was so humbling.
Yeah, you're reminding me of a verse in Psalms where, I'm going to have to try and think about it in Sesotho English. So in isiZulu it says, "Kwangilungela ukuthi ngihlushwe." It was a good thing that I went through trials and tribulations. It's not verbatim, but it was a good thing for me to go through trials and tribulations, because that made me stronger. Yes. It made me persevere. Because remember, if you think about it, David was one of the few people that God so loved. I mean, he was picked up from being a shepherd from a very young age, and he was a sinner. Yeah. I mean, he killed a man because he was lusting over his wife, and God then killed his son because it was a way of God to teach him that all you needed to do was just ask me. I would have given you. You understand? So with that being said, we go through so much, but God always brings us back to, it's not because I don't love you.
No, it's to teach us.
It's to teach you. And all the things that I've put you through, the embarrassments, it was just to groom you and to give you
to harness me.
To harness you so that when you get into bigger and greater things, you don't go, how am I going to deal with this? I'm prepared because I've basically taken you through that journey.
Amen.
you know, so now that you're here, you look back and like, oh, okay, that mistake, I did that, not for me. You know, that circle, I had 50 friends, my phone was ringing off the hook. Now, you know, it's just 5 people that call me, 5 people that text me.
And there's nothing as peaceful as that.
Right?
When you have ownership of your life and yourself, there's nothing else that can deter you. Nothing. You find yourself going to be in the right spaces, being surrounded by the right people. I mean, this invite for me was the most precious thing.
Thank you.
Hence the name.
Thank you. Thank you so much for honoring the invite.
Precious thing. And I was like, I'm going to get myself ready. I'm going to gear myself up for it. I'm going to support my girl, my host.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and
we're going to do bigger, better things,
Thank you so much.
This August thing, what we were talking about earlier.
It's a beginning of greatness. I can feel it in my spirit. I can feel it in my gut. I can feel it. I feel it in my soul. And I don't even know why my name is Liopelo, because I can't sing. But music resonates with me so much so that I hear things and I see things better when there's music.
I'm not saying I'm right, but I'd like to think maybe it's your spiritual child that is the one that's the singer in you. Really? Because you resonate with music better, although you as the flesh cannot sing, but your spiritual child, which is your soul, that is unseen, is the one that is Liopelo. So when you resonate, it actually makes that spiritual child of yours to jump up for joy.
Oh, wow. That's so sweet. Thank you. I'll take that. I'll take that. I'm not looking back. I'm taking it and I'm running. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And that's what I want to give to the world. That's what I want to give to the society I'm surrounded by. That's what I want to impact people in that way. I realize that I can't save the world.
No, nobody can.
But I want to impart something of me.
Yeah.
I'm very selfless. With my selfishness, I'm very selfless. And ever since I've lost the closest people around me, there's always an element of a message from another person. I don't know if have you ever experienced that?
Yeah.
You get me?
Yeah, I do.
Then I'm like, did you hear what this child just said?
Yeah.
Like this child just said something that an adult would say. I can't even make anybody listen because they're my cats.
Yeah.
And I'm like, thank you. Then I'll be getting ready to go to a meeting or something that is very important to me, and then I'll smell my dad's perfume, jumping out of the shower. And I'm like, dude, you were here.
Yes.
You know?
They exist. They coexist with us. They're spirits.
Wow.
They're souls.
Tell me how.
Do you remember when Jesus, just before he was crucified, and he went up the mountain with only 3 of his disciples?
Yes,
he didn't take all 12. He took only 3. And
do you remember the 3? And why he took those 3?
I'd like to believe that they were
the best
or the most
obedient,
or they had to be witnesses.
Part of that experience.
And when he went up to the mountain, he said to them, stay here and pray. And he left them a mile, and Moses and Elijah appeared.
Right.
So if Moses and Elijah can appear to Jesus,
were dead people.
And they were dead people, so they were ancestors.
So they live amongst us.
So they live amongst us.
I wish I could see them all.
Go light your candle.
Wish I could see them all.
And talk to them. They can hear.
I believe in the talking. I get the talking. I do the talking.
Yeah.
But I just want to see them all.
In your dreams, it's possible.
I'm putting it out there. I want to see them all.
In your dreams, it's possible.
I want to see them all.
Yeah.
I want to see them all.
Liopelo.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for
this
that.
conversation, for me, it just, I don't know.
Thank you so much.
I think this is why I named the show Precious Moments, because it's not conversations that you have on a daily basis.
Never.
It's not social media conversations. It's not what's happening, what's current, but it's deep conversations. Enlightening conversations, insightful conversations, emotional conversations.
Once in a lifetime. Once in a lifetime. For me, that's how I feel.
Thank you
and
so
thank
much
you so much for
coming through
and inviting me.
Any words to young upcoming creatives who wants to enter into the space? Any advice?
I'm super excited that the world is transforming to what it's becoming. And there's still a lot more in store, I'm sure. But kitabela hore, there's even though there's bad in social media, there's also good, because by now I'm more exposed to a lot of things.
Yeah.
I think it's just about a matter of one really channeling their energies and what they want, and going for it, and never thinking that it's impossible until you reach it. If you reach it and you find it not to be possible or what you wanted or thought it would be, get to the next one. Because there's always something good for you. And we're all gifted in our own rights.
True.
You don't necessarily have to be an actress to be the most established or successful person. You don't have to be, you can be anything and anyone. You can be a camera woman, you can be a director, you can be a cameraman, you can be a sound person. Working together in synergy is the most important thing, and that can just bring you happiness. I think once a person is happy, everything else just falls into place as it's supposed to. And not walking out of there thinking that you own the world just because you're surrounded by so many people. Each and every role of that part of you in the making is so important. And for me, I feel if I had to speak to the little girl inside of me, I would have said, don't take anything for granted. Pay attention. It's noisy, but walk away and have a safe place where you just pay attention. But walk in there believing in something. I think the belief of something or believing in something happened to me whilst I was in the journey of discovery. And I have no regrets, but I'm proud to be somebody who's removed out of that and who can speak at it, to show my child, to show your son about the hardships, the greatness of what it is, and leave it to them, because I think they're even more intelligent because of the accessibility of information they have. And allow them to make a decision about what it is that they want to do and who they want to become. But the why is very important. The why is very important. And I feel as a parent, when a child takes a step and tells you why, it's important to listen.
True.
Because that child never dies. So whatever it is that you say no to, that child will always want it. And they will go and get it. And it might be under like compromising circumstances. Therefore, it's important to embrace each other, to support each other, and to build a better nation.
Sure. Where to for Liopelo from here?
The great news is that I finally opened up my production company.
Yay!
It's Leo D Productions, and I want to tell stories. I want to enjoy being behind the scenes and actually capturing what I feel as moments. Moments are very intricate, and not everybody can capture them. Not everybody. We all have our different things, and I just feel I've started a lot trying to do it, and I'm officially now on the 1st of June opening up my office and saying this is what I'm offering. And I can only wish for the stars.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Thank
you so much for making time, and all the best with your production company. We're definitely going to be in touch. Let's work together.
Let's for each other.
Let's grow.
Support each other.
Let's support each other. Let's fix each other's crowns.
Right?
Yeah.
Fix each other's crowns.
Let's fix each
Talking
other's
about that, I
crowns.
was just judging Miss World South Africa. And for me, I've always loved beautiful girls. I've always loved how they could, the pageants themselves. But this is one of a kind where it just showcases a purposeful life. And the word today for me is purpose. It's been that word, but it's never been as clear as it is now.
Thank you. We are definitely adopting it as precious moments.
And it's the most amazing thing. And I think if we can look within ourselves for the purpose, we'll be able to outwardly give it. And we'll all come here together as a team in the world to live and make the world a better place for us, for our ancestors, for our children.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Liopelo Maphathe, precious moments. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and look out for Liopelo's production company. We're going to make noise as women in this industry. Thank you, my love.
Leo D Productions.
Leo D Productions
so much.
Will be capturing precious moments.
Precious moments.
Yeah.
Yes. Purposeful moments. Thank you.
Purposeful moments.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
God
I
bless
appreciate you.